A universal thing across a majority of competitive games would likely be the existence of Smurfs, with Valorant being no exception. Smurfing has been a problem since the game originally launched and is constantly talked about as a massive issue by the community. It seems like there's a new post every day on the Valorant subreddit asking for a solution to the Smurfing problem. It's gotten to the point where there's even a change.org petition with almost 2,000 signatures asking for Riot to add two-factor authentication to counter Smurfing. And despite Riot's efforts to resolve this issue, many players keep asking for a more permanent solution to Valorant's Smurfing problem. Before we continue further with this discussion, it's important to understand what exactly Smurfing is. Smurfing is a term used to describe a high-ranked player who creates a new account to play against lower-ranked opponents. This can be done for a variety of reasons, such as to boost their ego, to play with friends who are of a lower rank, or to simply have an easier time winning games. It's important to note that the general Valorant community considers a high elo player playing in low elo as Smurfing no matter the circumstances. This means those who limit themselves to a specific agent or gun for the sake of a challenge will still be considered a Smurf by the community. One of the most commonly believed ideas about Smurfing in Valorant has to do with the fact that many players like to assume Riot has made no efforts to combat Smurfing. Although we often like to dunk on the Valorant team for ignoring features like the replay system, it's important to give credit where credit is due. In fact, Riot has been making efforts to counter Smurfing since the game originally launched. There are 4 articles of note posted by the Valorant team that discuss the Smurfing issue and their plans to counter it. The first article of note would be posted on October 22nd, 2020, with the following question being asked. Smurfing is inevitable in ranked games, but I'm curious what you're doing to discourage Smurfing in Valorant. The team's response to this question would go as follows. Smurfing always sucks, especially when you have rank on the line. While it's hard to stop Smurfing entirely in a free-to-play game, we are taking action to combat it. Right now we have a behind-the-scenes system for unrated, as well as one that applies to Iron through Diamond ranked players. The latter tracks an individual's performance and notices when a player makes a highly disproportionate impact in a game. We then quickly boost them to harder matches and higher ranks in competitive. The second article would be posted a little over 6 months later on May 6, 2021. In this article, they'd actually go on to imply that Smurfs are relatively small in number and that Smurfing isn't as prevalent as the community might have you believe. Although they state this, they'd still clarify that they're pouring heavy resources into countering Smurfs in the game. The third article would be posted over a year later on July 12, 2022 with the 5.01 patch notes. In these patch notes, they'd announce the testing of their new Smurf Detection system and would state the following. This addition to our Smurf Detection system is designed to make sure that new players, that means all new accounts, are matched up with the players of the correct skill level much faster than before. The final article would be posted 6 months later on December 20, 2022 with the title Valorant Systems Health Series Smurf Detection. Although the article is quite long, it can be summarized with the following. Overall, Smurf counts are down 17% compared to earlier in the year, and newly created Smurfs are getting to their correct MMR 2 to 3 times faster. Their method of countering Smurfs seems to have stayed the same throughout them tackling this issue. The general idea is to automatically increase a Smurf's MMR by a faster rate to get them into their correct rank quicker to avoid more players encountering them Smurfing in their elo. Although this may sound questionable to some people, this method has proved effective according to Riot themselves. So for what it's worth, Riot has made efforts to combat Smurfing in their own way, and they claim they'll continue to improve their systems to further mitigate this issue. The most popular suggestion when it comes to countering the Smurfing issue stems from the idea of phone number verification. In broad terms, people are asking Riot to require players to link their phone number to their account to be able to play ranked. Posts such as Riot enabling phone number verification to play ranked would fix Smurfing easily, and now that Premier is asking for phone numbers, can we get a verified queue, are easily among the most common when it comes to this issue. However, there are some glaring issues with this solution, making it more of a temporary bandage rather than a viable fix. As mentioned earlier, there's currently a change.org petition asking for Riot to add two-factor authentication or phone number verification to play ranked. In the petition's FAQ, the author states the following. People can easily get a fake phone number using apps. While that is true, it is fairly easy to find out if a number is registered with someone or pulled from an application. There are already many games that do not accept app-based numbers, and Riot can implement the same verification. What the creator of this petition is likely referring to is voice over IP phone numbers. There are a multitude of services that offer these phone numbers, which aren't actually registered to a device. However, what the author and many others who make the same point fail to realize is that real numbers for verification purposes aren't very hard to get your hands on. The only difference is that they'd likely cost a few dollars $100, which probably wouldn't stop most people anyways. A post made in the official Valorant subreddit titled "Breaking Some Myths on How to Climb in Valorant with Solo Queue Data Collection" would get the following response from a deleted Reddit account. Second, Evermore, a Riot developer, is completely and purposely full of it when it comes to the Smurf account comment, which is his job, downplaying the game's glaring issues. I only say that to say this: anything that comes from Riot about Smurf should be taken with a million grains of salt, because Smurf accounts are a positive KPI from Riot's perspective. Imagine the cliff-size drop in player accounts if they actually enforced some sort of authentication to where you couldn't create infinite accounts at will. Evermore would go on to defend themselves in a very long response. However, the reply in regard to SMS verification solution would be the main thing of note. SMS verification does not solve the issue why players are smurfing, nor does it correct a Smurf account once it's been detected. It's an attempt to put up a wall, and it's just a barrier that Smurfs can find a way around, but ends up blocking more players than Smurfs. In Valorant's Smurf Detection article that we looked at earlier, there's a key piece of information that they provide. Towards the end of their post, they would state the following: continued efforts to detect and act against boosting, account sharing, and account purchasing. The main words of note here are account purchasing. Over the past few years Valorant has been out, they've slowly made it more and more time consuming to unlock the ability to play ranked, possibly as a way to discourage players from smurfing. As a result, players who want to smurf end up purchasing a low elo account to save time. Riot has already acknowledged that they're aware of account selling stores and are looking into it. However, the article that states this was posted over a year ago, and they have yet to take any action against those who sell Smurf accounts. If Riot truly wants to make an impact in regards to the smurfing situation, taking down these account selling stores should be their biggest priority. Although it'd be impossible to take down every single one, shutting down some of the more popular ones should be enough to send some sort of message and make it slightly harder for players to purchase Smurf accounts. In fact, a year prior to the release of this article, Valorant would tweet the following: as part of our effort to combat Smurfs in Valorant competitive queue, we've recently initiated a ban wave on accounts that were compromised and or violated our terms of service. This goes to show that not only could they shut down stores selling Smurf accounts, they'd also be able to track the accounts that are sold and ban them as well. There will never be a way to stop every single Smurf in any competitive game, especially not free-to-play games like Valorant. Although it's important to acknowledge the effort that Riot has made so far to combat smurfing, more solutions are needed to mitigate this issue. If you have a solution you'd like to share, feel free to leave a comment below.